Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier and this is the Piracy Show. Now yesterday's show, of course, we were talking about the incidental PvP that you can run into while doing, these first iteration of, pirate missions within the Star Citizen universe. Now let's flip that all the way around and completely undermine the points that I was making, the questions that I was asking yesterday, and let's look at it from a different perspective. What if it's supposed to be shitty? What if the truth is that it's supposed to make you feel that I don't want to be somebody's gopher, I don't want to be somebody's bitch, I don't want to be the guy who goes to the wrecked Caterpillar and retrieves, one crate and brings it back for a pittance while risking my life. I want to be the guy who shoots the Caterpillar down and takes all the cargo. It could be that the basic missions that you do right now are just there to kind of give you an idea of some of the things that possibly you could do in the Star Citizen universe once those systems and once these things are brought online. Now, we've heard about land claims, building your own bases, but let's say you're visiting a certain lab on Yella. And instead of going there and say either picking up an order of, teddy bears for blind orphans, you kind of look around and say, hey, why don't I just set up my own lab? Why don't I just set up my own lab somewhere that nobody knows about? And then I can just kind of manufacture my own and then sell it myself and, increase my profit margins. Maybe I can get all my friends together and we can kind of work together towards, this goal, this operation, this business. And so even though you might get started, you may wet your feet with these kind of beginning missions. Maybe they unlock a certain reputation to a certain point where you can purchase the recipe for widow or teddy bears for blind orphans. And, then you can use that in your own factory, or maybe you have to steal the recipe, get someone that has a herald to come in, or any other ship. Maybe you don't need a herald, maybe he needs to get directly in there to hack the database to possibly get that recipe for you. And then you can make your own and make your own business. Maybe when you do one of these missions where you got to pick up a package and then deliver it to a stash house, at one of these kind of unnamed locations hidden away on Yella or Selen or wherever. And instead of just dropping the package there and leaving, maybe you want to run an additional risk. And you just say, you know what? I'm just going to take all this shit. I'm going to pick all this up, I'm going to put it on my cutlass, and I'm just going to take off. But now they know it was you, and now they're putting maybe even contracts out on you. But you end up with, instead of, say, walking away with 340 UEC, maybe you're walking away with thousands, but then you got to deal with the fact that now there's contracts out on you that various mercenaries, both legitimate and those who maybe skirt the gray area of the law a little bit, can take advantage of and make a little bit of money off of. So you can make more money, but then you got to also run that extra risk, something like that. I mean, it's kind of an interesting lens to kind of see the problem through. What if it is intentionally shitty to encourage you to take greater risks or to become more of an entrepreneur and less of a, okay, go to mission location, do this, and then come back, get your reward. I mean, every MMO basically has those missions. Go here, slay 15 fell orcs, bring me back their heads, and I shall give you this amount of gold plus this amount of experience or whatever. Maybe, through Star Citizen, when you're kind of playing these missions, you can kind of use these missions as kind of a commentary on those shitty mission systems, and as a way to kind of kickstart a player into saying, you know what, I'm going to go into business for myself. F all this shit. F being, the dog waiting for table scraps. I'm just going to go out and get my own meal. It could very well be, that this is intentionally shitty for a reason. It's possible, definitely, I make jokes and I say things about stuff, but it's important to always kind of take your ideas and just flip them on their head. I've said this before. Take your ideas, tear them up, throw them on the ground, and then build them up again, and look at what you're thinking, look at what you're saying, and ask different kinds of questions. It could very well be that this is like the kick, the push that makes you go out and do your own thing and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to get together with that guy with the Herald, and I'm going to get together with that guy with the Caterpillar, and these two other guys with cutlasses. And instead of going and picking through the remnants of a wreck, we're going to just cause the wreck. We're not just going to pick over the ruined Starfare. We're going to cause the wreck Starfare. We're going to go and we're going to do the work with all our ships put together as a team. And then instead of just picking up a few crates of hydrogen or whatever other bullshit's there, we end up scooping up the entire ship. It may simply look bad because really this is all we got. This is the only game in town really for pirates in terms of making money. Of course, you can go down to Jumper Town, you can pick up some Widow or whatever, and just haul it off to Grim Hex, make money that way if you're looking to do a little bit of smuggling. But the ceiling really isn't all that high right now for making money, and maybe that's intentional. Maybe in order to really sustain yourself as someone who lives in the gray area to a full-on pirate or a full-on smuggler, you kind of have to think big. Maybe instead of being the guy who shows up at Jumper Town with an empty ship and just says, load it up so I can get to Grim Hex and make a little bit of money. Maybe you're the guy that shows up there with, oh, I just happened to find 30 tons of industrial solvent, and I hear you like to use this to manufacture your product. Maybe you would like to take it off my hands at a bit of a discount and no questions asked, and then you sell that to them. But then you turn around and you use it to purchase something else, which then you go sell on at Grim Hex. I mean, the truth is that we could very well be playing within a mission system right now that's kind of more geared towards players who just have that basic Aurora MR or LN, that Avenger Titan, that basic Origin 100i, those very early starter ships, the Reliant. This could be a mission system designed more around those guys to give them a taste, and maybe the people with the Cutlasses, the Caterpillars, the Heralds should be a little bit more ambitious, and they should be off doing things that unfortunately the facilities to really do them aren't in place at this time. I think it's going to be interesting to see how everything shakes out in the end. I mean, perhaps that is exactly what this is, or maybe these are just rewards that are kind of gauged around the idea of we don't want players to kind of get a taste for making ludicrous amounts of money like they were making before when they were getting millions of UEC. Instead, we want to kind of curb those expectations so that players aren't kind of going into the future and saying, hey, I was making $1 million a run in the last patch, now I'm making 500. What gives? Maybe you don't want that to translate into the live environment. Anyways, interesting questions. I hope you enjoyed the show, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.